welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a Holy Grail video in a while, so I thought I would do one on my favorite highlighters. I have a ton of them, and I actually divided them up into high-end and drugstore. So I have almost about the same number for each category. I really love highlighters. It's my favorite step aside from concealer when it comes to makeup. And there's just something about highlighting your face. You give yourself this radiant glow, and you're in control of it by choosing the perfect highlight for yourself. So it's always fun to test out and try different ones from high-end to drugstore. I love them all. And some people may say, how many do you really need? Honestly, you don't need that many, but there are so many different textures and even colors. There's yellow ones, white ones, pink ones, gold ones, peach ones with neutralizing redness or brightening the skin. They just do a lot of different things, and they also work differently on different skin tones. So I do have quite a few, but I was able to narrow them down to my absolute favorites. And before I get into the actual highlights, I wanted to start off by saying that I won't be mentioning these two in particular, the Laura Geller Baked Filter Finish, because I recently reviewed this and it's more of a setting powder than a highlighter. Even though I adore it as a highlighter, I just didn't want to throw this one in. I thought it would be too many products. And then the Maybelline Master Highlight in Nude. I talked about this in my top 5 drugstore products, but it's referred to as a highlighting blush, so that's why I didn't throw this one in either. But I definitely do love it. So if you guys notice that these two are missing from the video, it's not because they're not Holy Grail, it's just because I've already mentioned them in previous videos that I will link below. So let's dive in and start with the high-end highlighters. So the first one I'm going to mention is the brand Becca. I love Becca's highlights. I love Opal, I love Moonstone, but because a lot of the highlights I already have here are similar in color and tone, I thought I would mention one that was completely different from anything else in my collection, and it is, of course, Becca's Champagne Pop, which is a kind of peachy golden tone. It's very different from any of the other highlighters I own. I think this suits fair skin tones beautifully. I love how it looks on me as well, but it's an intense highlight. It's an in-your-face highlight, so if you are trying to stay away from something very intense or very over the top, I wouldn't go with Becca. But if you are looking for that luminosity that's just bam, then definitely pick up a Becca highlight, and this one is in Champagne Pop. And to me, this is the silent sister comparison of Champagne Pop from Becca. And it is the pure Afterglow Illuminating Powder. It looks like this, because you still definitely get that kind of golden sheen. It might have a little bit of a peachiness to it, but it's not super duper intense. It's more of a subtle glow. I'm not going to say that if you put this on, you're not going to see it. You definitely will, but it's easier to blend out. It's not so pigmented, or it's pigmented but in a more finely milled way, so I feel like you can really blend it into the skin, make it look more natural, perfect to wear on your wedding day. Just one of my absolute favorite high-end highlighters right now when I'm going for something a little more subtle. With this next highlight, I wasn't really sure whether to categorize it as high-end or drugstore because it's, you'll see. And it's Sephora, it's the Sephora collection brand, and I figured it would be high-end because Sephora is a higher end store. It's their MicroSmooth Illuminating Baked Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Light Beam. I've mentioned this long time ago in some of my videos. I really like it. It is definitely a Holy Grail. And of all the high-end ones I'm going to talk about today, it's affordable and it's so beautiful. And again, it's more of a subtle but definitely glowy radiance from within. This next one is my travel size version. The big one is packed away as I've started packing for this move, but this travel size is definitely generous, and it was a points perk from Sephora, and it's the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder Highlight number 1. And as you can see, it's a definitely generous size, perfect for traveling with. I haven't even hit pan on it yet. That's why my full size is kind of tucked away until I hit pan on this little guy. This is a beautiful, beautiful highlight. I don't know why it's referred to as matte, because it's definitely not matte, but it's a very natural, again, looking highlight, but it gives you that little pop, a little pizzazz without it being super over the top. So it's a nice, gorgeous, again, wedding friendly highlight, and it blends so smoothly, so creamy. I really like it. And I actually have a dupe from the drugstore that I'll be mentioning when I get to the drugstore category that's similar to this. Might not be as smooth when it comes to blending, but it's definitely similar in the color and the sheen. Next up, we have the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. This is the Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator, the most popular of all of the Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminators from Laura Geller. This Gilded Honey is the goldest, the prettiest, the creamiest, blendable kind of mousse-like consistency highlight. I'm so happy that I haven't even hit pan on it yet. I use this so often. It's definitely a go-to when I want a really golden pop of highlight. I reach for this one. And if you wet your highlighting brush with a little bit of Fix Plus or makeup setting spray, this intensifies like 10 times over. Amazing stuff. And then the last highlight from the high-end category comes from Too Faced. This is their original Candlelight Glow, and I've recently fallen in love with it actually because it was sitting in my drawer and I decided to play with it thinking it didn't really pop that much when I swatched it on my hand, but honestly if you swirl that brush in there on both shades, you're gonna get a nice highlight. So you can definitely choose with this highlight. You can go for a more pinky glow one day or a more yellowy golden sheen the other, or of course simply swirl the two shades together with your brush and pop it on. That's what I like to do mostly, is mix the two colors together and I get this nice little radiance, this nice pop of glow, and you can definitely see it, but again, it's easy to blend. It's not chunky whatsoever, and it's definitely not glittery, which I'm not a fan of glittery highlights. This is very smooth and creamy. The first one I want to mention is the one I'm actually wearing today, and I'm going to kind of move slowly to see if you can catch it. It's from the Makeup Revolution line, which is a London-based makeup brand. They're affordable, they're drugstore. This one is actually in Radiant Lights. And the way I would describe this shade is a very light pinky sheen that has the teeniest, tiniest bit of peach mixed into it. So it's not golden, it's not pink, it's kind of like a pinky peach. This highlight is intense. It swatches like a beast. It highlights on your face like bam, you really see it, but it blends easily. I use it to highlight my inner tear duct and underneath the brow bone. It is my favorite highlight right now from the drugstore. Amazing, and I think these are like $4 or $5. Super affordable. And keeping on with the Makeup Revolution train, I also have this new product from them called the Ultra Strobing Balm. This is a creamy consistency that doesn't really quite dry down to a powder. I feel like it still stays kind of creamy on the skin. If you want some intense luminosity, grab this guy. This strobing balm has an iridescence to it that is almost holographic. It has like purple and pink reflex on it. It's amazing. This is the kind of highlight you will see from space because it's just different. It has kind of like that color pixelation to it as it's catching the light. It's really amazing. This would look good as an inner eye highlight or just strobing throughout the face, but a little bit goes a long way. Definitely don't pile this on because it might become a little too intense, and you might be a fan of the fact that it's cream versus a powder. This next product is slightly a creamy highlight as well, but it does set down to a powder, and it is the Essence Cream to Powder Highlighter in the shade 20 Bright Up Your Life, and this is definitely a pinky highlight. If you like those pinky kind of tones, I think you would really gravitate towards this well. It would work well on your skin tone. Beautiful, creamy consistency, easy to blend, easy to work with. Slightly creamy, but definitely powder finish. This next highlight is something I've mentioned in previous videos. I think I did a best of drugstore highlights or something like that a while back on my channel. Let's see if I can say this. The Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips Custom Bronzer plus Blush and Eyeshadow in Healthy Glow Bronzer Miami Strip. Miami Strip is the one that has the pinkier tones on the top. I really like these swirled together, but if I want a really bright highlight instead of a bronzier glow, I stick to the top two strips, which are the pinky one and the very light peachy one. Sometimes I'll even just go for the pink if I really want to pop, and I love that top pink strip as an eyeshadow as well as in the inner tear duct. Beautiful. And these intensify again even more if you mix them with a little bit of a makeup setting spray. I'm also a fan of the other shimmer strip in Vegas Strip. It's a little bit bronzier, a little bit more golden. I'll sometimes pair that instead with a matte bronzer to give myself more glow. But as far as highlights go, Miami Strip is the way to go. This next highlight I think is another top favorite in that creamy family as well, and it's from Colourpop. It's in the shade Wisp, a very light kind of rose gold, really pretty. It gives you that wet consistency, so your highlight is really going to be on point. It's really going to glow. This is a great product for strobing. I highly recommend the Colourpop highlighters layering with cream eyeshadows or anything like that because these really pop and they intensify with a sponge. I tend to apply these with a damp beauty blender, and the end result is amazing. And then these last two products are also powder products, but they're baked and they come from e.l.f. One is a baked blush and the other one is a baked highlighter. The baked blush is called Pinktastic and it's definitely not a blush unless you want to refer to it as a blush topper. It's definitely more of a highlight and it's very much comparable to the MAC Mineral Skin Finish highlight in Soft and Gentle for about $3, a way cheaper price tag and amazingly gorgeous. And then the e.l.f. baked highlighter in Moonlight Pearl is more more of a pearlescent white that has a tiny bit of golden or peach to it as well, but it definitely looks more of a pearly white on the skin. This Moonlight Pearl is a dupe for that Laura Mercier highlight number 1. Pretty similar. This one's a little bit chunkier, it's a little bit scratchier as you're rubbing around in that product, but the sheen, the intensity, the color payoff is pretty much the same thing for a whole lot less. So this pretty much concludes my Holy Grail highlighters. Let me know if you own or love any of the ones I just mentioned, and also be sure to let me know in the comment box below if there's a highlighter that I need to try or something I'm missing out on. What do you recommend? What do you think I need? Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already so I can see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Of course, swirl them together. Achoo! Achoo!